The film begins by showing a woman named Patricia who is cooking dinner. Patricia lives with her husband David and their daughter Michael. A moment later, David comes home from work. But suddenly, David grabs a knife and murders Patricia. As a result, Patricia dies instantly. After committing the murder, David is arrested and sent to prison by the police. Meanwhile, Michael is forced to live with foster parents until she is old enough to live independently. Years pass, and Michael has now grown into a beautiful young woman. She is attending college and currently living in a dormitory. Michael has a roommate named Charlie, who is always by her side. Feeling close to Charlie, Michael finally opens up about her dark past. Her father, David, is a murderer known as the Puppet Man. David earned this nickname because when the police arrested him, he repeatedly claimed that he wasn't the one who killed his wife. He always denied the crime, insisting that it wasn't his doing. Of course, the police didn't believe him since all the evidence clearly pointed to David. For the murder he committed, the court sentenced David to death. His execution is scheduled for this year. After hearing all this, Charlie feels sorry for Michael. Even though Michael is the daughter of a killer, that fact doesn't ruin their friendship. Since her father's imprisonment, Michael has never seen him again. However, she plans to visit him before his execution. As a good friend, Charlie promises to accompany her to meet David. Besides Charlie, Michael also has 3 friends from college: Dany, Glenn, and Joe. Recently, Dany confessed his feelings to Michael and the two of them just started dating.
Breakfast at the spot? I'm skipping sociology.
You have to get a shot in his ass?
One night, while Michael is asleep, she begins to dream about her childhood, where she finds herself in a dark room and sees 3 bars forming a pattern. But when she wakes up, Michael suddenly finds herself standing outside her room. Not only that, without realizing it, she has drawn 3 lines on the wall, using her own blood. Charlie explains that Michael is experiencing sleepwalking. Michael looks confused because this is the first time she has ever walked in her sleep. When they return to the room, Michael notices a photo of her father's face on Charlie's laptop. It seems Charlie is very curious about Michael's past. Michael becomes upset and tells Charlie not to dig deeper into her family history. Michael has already decided not to remember those events and wants nothing to do with her father anymore. Charlie apologizes and promises not to do it again.
Did you see me leave the room? Seriously? Right?
Yeah, you're right.
The next day, Michael, Charlie, Dany, Glenn, and Joe go to a supermarket to buy drinks because they plan to have a party on the dorm rooftop that evening.
That's it. No, how are you today?
This is child and juice.
Afterwards, they hurry back to Michael's dorm, but Charlie asks them to go ahead because she wants to stop somewhere first.
Be able to get that AARP discount next time.
As if you know without me.
Sweet. More room for me.
Later, they all return to the dorm. Dany escorts Michael to her room. Michael invites Dany to hang out in her room, but Dany chooses to go straight to the rooftop instead.
Okay, yeah.
Michael feels a bit disappointed because she actually wanted to spend more time alone with him. While in her room, Michael hears a notification sound from Charlie's laptop. Curious, she opens it and discovers a message from someone named Ruby. Not only that, she also finds a folder titled Roommate. Inside the folder are many videos showing Michael sleepwalking. Michael is shocked to see herself and can't believe Charlie has been recording her.
Where is she going? It's Michael.
Suddenly, Charlie enters the room and scolds Michael for opening her laptop without permission. Charlie explains that Michael has been sleepwalking ever since they became roommates, although Michael only realized it yesterday. Because of Michael's habit, Charlie never goes to sleep before Michael does in order to watch over her. She assures Michael that she will never tell anyone about this. Michael feels grateful to have such an understanding friend. That night, Michael, Charlie, Dany, Glenn, and Joe have a party on the rooftop of Michael's dorm.
God, it's your dad, girl.
Yes, do.
Thanks. Thank you. Ooh, to the best year.
Cheers to that.
While they are having fun, Glenn suddenly slips and mentions Michael's family past and her sleepwalking habit. This means Charlie has told Michael's biggest secret to Glenn, Dany, and Joe. Michael becomes furious with Charlie for exposing her secret. Feeling guilty, Charlie tries to apologize to Michael. But suddenly, Charlie's body becomes stiff and she is unable to move. She tries to call for help from the others, but they think she is only joking. Then, Charlie's body slowly begins walking backward on its own until she falls off the rooftop, instantly killing her. After that, a detective begins interrogating Michael, since she was the last person who spoke with Charlie. Michael explains that before Charlie's death, she was angry with her and even wished for Charlie to die. Michael blames herself, saying that in Charlie's final moments, she looked terrified of her. She recalls seeing it in Charlie's eyes as Charlie looked directly at her. Hearing this, the detective seems unsure how to respond, but eventually allows Michael to go home.
It was the last time I'll ever get to speak to her, and I was so... It was the same thing, the exact same thing.
Afraid of what?
From that moment on, Michael starts to feel that something strange is happening to her. Later, Dany comes to see her, worried about her condition. He offers to stay with her that night, but Michael refuses. Even though she doesn't want him to stay, Dany, being a good boyfriend, cannot leave her alone. So, he decides to wait outside her room. A few hours later, Dany, who has fallen asleep, suddenly wakes up after hearing the sound of Michael's door opening. He quickly checks her room and finds that Michael is gone. Dany begins searching around and once again finds Michael sleepwalking. Without realizing it, she nearly attempts suicide by standing at the edge of the rooftop. Luckily, Dany manages to wake her up just in time. Dany then takes Michael back to her room. Michael is very confused about why she always ends up sleepwalking. They decide to watch the videos Charlie recorded earlier, hoping to find some clue. In one of the videos, Michael is seen drawing 3 lines. Neither Michael nor Dany understands the meaning of those lines.
Was that him?
I don't know. I don't remember it. I don't remember any of it, and I don't...
Since the day has been exhausting, Michael and Dany choose to rest. The next morning, Charlie's mother visits Michael. She often heard stories about Michael from Charlie, and now she reminisces about her late daughter. During their conversation, Charlie's phone suddenly rings. The caller is Charlie's friend, Ruby. Ruby asks to speak with Michael. Ruby is a psychic who wants to help Michael solve her problem. She urges Michael, Dany, Glenn, and Joe to come to her house as soon as possible. Without hesitation, they leave for Ruby's place. When they arrive, Ruby asks Michael to wait in the living room while she talks with Dany, Glenn, and Joe. Ruby explains that something evil is attached to Michael, and Charlie had realized this from the beginning. That was why Charlie often collected evidence of Michael's sleepwalking and investigated her past. Charlie knew that Michael's problem couldn't be solved by ordinary means, which was why she reached out to Ruby for help. Unfortunately, before Charlie could move forward with her plan, she was killed in a tragic way. Now, Ruby wants Dany, Glenn, and Joe to help Michael. After the discussion, Ruby, Michael, Dany, Glenn, and Joe decide to perform a ritual to summon the spirit of Michael's mother. Ruby wants to directly ask who killed her and who killed Charlie. If possible, she also intends to expel the presence currently attached to Michael. Based on Michael's past, Ruby suspects that the entity haunting her once possessed David. It was this entity that killed Michael's mother and also Charlie. Ruby begins the ritual, calling upon Michael's mother's spirit in search of answers. But instead of connecting with her, Ruby makes contact with the entity inside Michael.
She is in pain. Will you lead us? I don't...
The entity reveals that it was the one who killed Charlie. Everyone in the room is shocked. Michael, frustrated, demands Ruby to reveal who exactly she is communicating with. Suddenly, Ruby's hand starts moving on its own, writing out that the entity is Michael herself. This leaves Michael terrified and deeply confused about her own identity. Afterward, they decide to take Michael back to the dorm. Dany, Glenn, and Joe, still worried about Michael, decide to stay with her that night. After Michael falls asleep, Joe and Glenn start digging into her past. In their search, they discover that when Michael was a child, her parents locked her inside an iron cage. The report mentions that what her parents did was connected to a sect known as the Cult of Dolos. However, they have no idea what the Cult of Dolos actually is. Suddenly, right behind Dany, Michael begins sleepwalking again and starts writing strange words on the window glass. Dany quickly wakes her up. Witnessing this bizarre event right before their eyes terrifies Glenn and Joe, making them fearful of Michael. They choose to leave, while Dany decides to stay and continue supporting her. Later, Dany takes Michael out for dinner, where she begins opening up about her past. She reveals that after her father was imprisoned, she lived with foster parents who did not treat her well. One day, Michael became furious at her foster father and wished for him to die. Soon after, she was shocked to find him dead, having hanged himself, with an apology carved into his stomach addressed to her. Michael realized that whenever she becomes angry with someone and wishes for their death, that person actually dies. This was proven with her foster father's death and with Charlie's, both times when she was consumed by rage and wished for their deaths. Michael fears that if she loses control again, she will cause the deaths of more people close to her. She then asks Dany to take her to visit her father, David. Michael believes David can explain what has truly been happening to her, what entity has attached itself to her, and why it keeps causing the deaths of those around her.
Because I wasn't normal.
Michael.
I see their faces all the time. What if my anger can make those choices? What if I made her jump?
Meanwhile, Joe secretly goes to Ruby's house to retrieve a book about the cult of Dolos. The book details the entity that has attached itself to Michael. Ruby warns Joe to keep the book a secret from Michael because if Michael discovers it, the entity inside her will know as well. If that happens, the entity could harm Ruby and Michael's friends who are trying to help her. Joe quickly informs Dany and Glenn about this before beginning to read the book. Inside, she finds descriptions of a satanic sect that worships a demon named Dolos. Dolos, known as the Deceiver in Greek mythology, was summoned into the world to bring chaos. He can be called forth through a ritual that unites light and darkness. However, before Joe can continue reading further, her body suddenly becomes paralyzed and something terrifying happens to her.
Joanna? Joanna, are you there?
She dies instantly. At the same time, Glenn, who is working out at the gym, also experiences the same horrifying paralysis, leading to his death as well. The reason Joe and Glenn died was because they had the intention to fight against the demon Dolos. In the book, it was written that anyone who wished to destroy Dolos would have their intention turned back upon them, meaning Dolos would kill them. Meanwhile, Michael and Dany are on their way to the prison where Michael's father is being held. Once there, Michael finally meets David after so many years. She immediately asks him what has been happening to her and why he killed her mother. David gives an unexpected answer. The one who actually killed Patricia was not him, but Michael herself. The shocking truth is revealed. David and Patricia were followers of the cult of Dolos, worshippers of the demon Dolos. They desperately wanted to summon Dolos into the world to unleash chaos. To achieve this, they performed a ritual using the blood of David, Patricia, and Michael. The ritual required the blood of sinners, David and Patricia, and the blood of someone pure, Michael. Their hope was for Dolos to inhabit Patricia's body, but instead, the demon chose to dwell inside Michael, whose soul was still pure at that time. The three lines Michael often draws represent David, Patricia, and Michael united as one to bring forth Dolos. Once Dolos attached itself to Michael, she gained powers that allowed her to do anything, even kill, just through her thoughts. After receiving Dolos's power, Michael developed a strong desire to kill her own mother, since she had been locked in a cage and mistreated by her parents since childhood. Consumed by rage, Michael forced David to kill Patricia. David could not resist because Michael's anger triggered Dolos's power, which he could not overcome. After Patricia's death, David actually wanted to commit suicide, but Michael stopped him. She wanted him to suffer in prison for years, so she let him live. David explains that Dolos has only been using Michael to bring death to those around her. Since then, David has hated her deeply. Hearing this, Michael is devastated and doesn't know what to do. After getting the answer she sought, Michael and Dany leave the prison and head back to the dorm. On the way, Dany tries to comfort her, but strangely, he cannot touch her at all. It seems that Michael's will not to be disturbed has made her truly untouchable. Suddenly, a call comes in. It's the detective. He informs them that Joe and Glenn have been found dead under mysterious circumstances. The detective interrogates Michael and Dany, trying to understand why 3 of their friends died so close together in such unusual ways. Michael insists that their deaths were accidents, though deep down she knows they happened because of her own will. Michael then asks the detective to be quiet and locks Dany in the interrogation room, knowing that if he stays near her, his life will be in danger. Afterward, Michael develops the intention to commit suicide. She deliberately walks into a busy road, hoping to be hit by a car. But unexpectedly, all the cars stop on their own, even though she did not want that to happen. It turns out that the demon Dolos is protecting Michael's body and will never allow her to die so easily. Unsatisfied with her first attempt, Michael tries again to end her life by jumping off a bridge. But once again, Dolos saves her. Not long after, Dany arrives and witnesses Michael falling from the bridge, yet miraculously she reappears back on top. From that moment, Dany becomes convinced that a demon is truly attached to her. Not knowing what else to do, he takes Michael to Ruby's house, hoping she can find a way to save her. There, Dany explains to Ruby what he saw at the bridge. Ruby secretly devises a plan to help Michael without her knowledge, so the demon won't discover it either. She then reassures Michael that the demon isn't real, insisting that David lied about its existence. Ruby tells her that the deaths of her friends were nothing more than accidents and had nothing to do with her. Afterward, Ruby asks them to leave her house. Before they go, however, she hands Dany back their money, secretly giving it to him. Dany and Michael then leave and drive away, heading far from the city. Sensing something is wrong, Michael starts questioning where they are going. When she doesn't get the answers she wants, she forces Dany to stop the car. The car finally halts. Michael recalls seeing Ruby hand something to Dany earlier and demands to know what it was. At first, Dany refuses to tell her, but under Michael's will, he pulls out the money Ruby gave him. Hidden on the bills are notes written by Ruby, instructing Dany to take Michael far away from people and promising she would contact him soon. The moment Michael learns of Ruby's plan, Dolos becomes aware of it as well. Furious at Dany, Michael uses her power to control his body, slamming his head against the steering wheel repeatedly.
Stop lying.
Overcome with regret, Michael begs Dolos to stop. She breaks down, heartbroken, as she watches her beloved Dany suffering from her anger. But instead of stopping, Dolos continues bashing Dany's head against the wheel until finally Dany dies. At this point, Michael, now fully aware of Dolos's existence, becomes increasingly overwhelmed by her rage, and at times Dolos even manages to take control of her body. She grows resigned to her fate, drowning in regret and sorrow for the deaths of her loved ones caused by her anger. Covered in blood, Michael walks into the police station, begging the officers to shoot her. But once again, Dolos protects her, turning the scene into a massacre as the officers die instead.
Ma'am? No. Okay, all right, relax. Please stop. Freeze! Stop!
I've killed people.
Shocked and horrified, Michael spirals into panic until the detective suddenly appears and sedates her, causing her to collapse. Unconscious, Michael is taken to Ruby's house. It turns out Ruby had contacted the detective beforehand, tasking him to bring Michael to her.
She passed without waking.
There, Ruby enters Michael's subconscious, the only place where Dolos cannot interfere. She explains her plan. Dolos can only be transferred into another vessel by Michael herself. Once that's done, the demon can finally be destroyed. Michael agrees. Still within the dreamlike realm of her subconscious, she chooses her father, David, as Dolos's new host. knowing David has always desired Dolos's power. The plan is simple. Once Dolos resides in David, his imminent execution will also bring about the demon's destruction. The next day, Ruby escorts Michael to meet her father. It is the day of David's scheduled execution. Michael calmly tells him that Dolos is sleeping inside her and wishes to move into him instead. Thrilled, David accepts, eager to claim the power he has long yearned for. Michael then begins the ritual, transferring Dolos into David's body.
Make him want you. Come on, Dad.
In his final moments, David attempts to wield Dolos's power, commanding the nurse to stop the lethal injection. For a brief second, the nurse freezes, then, suddenly, breaks free of David's influence and administers the injection anyway. In an instant, David dies, and with him, Dolos appears to vanish from the world.
Hand over here.
Ruby and Michael rejoice, relieved that the nightmare is finally over. But in the closing scene, as Michael seems freed from her torment, her expression suddenly shifts into a sly, sinister smile. It becomes clear, Dolos was never gone. From the very beginning, the demon had deceived both Ruby and Michael, making them believe he could be transferred so easily. In truth, Dolos had never left Michael's body. With his cunning nature as the deceiver, Dolos has tricked them all. And now, hidden within Michael, he remains free to unleash even greater calamities upon the world. And the story ends.